I probably should have recorded when I started talking, but so again, this is the Statistical Consulting and Collaboration Techniques session of the LISA 2020 Symposium. Thank you all for joining, and Professor Oluwayemisi, go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Eric Vance. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the part of the world you are joining us. We are glad to have you this first plenary session. In this session, we are going to focus on statistical consulting and collaboration techniques. This topic is a contributed chapter to the LISA 2020 edited book. There will be 3 speakers who will make presentations on the articles in the chapter. And before I introduce the speakers and the discussant, it is very important to provide a brief introduction to the topic and of course to the chapter. The reality, at least in developing countries, is that the essential skills required for both statistical consulting and collaboration are mostly informal and are rarely taught in the training institutions in developing countries. These critical skills constitute a significant missing gap and a major hindrance to the growth and development of capacity in statistics and data science practice in developing countries. The advent of LISA 2020 initiative under the leadership of Professor Eric Vance is bridging this gap with a fast-growing network of interdisciplinary stat labs, which are spread across higher education institutions in Africa, India, Brazil, and other parts of the world. This chapter or this session will highlight how LISA 2020 stat labs engage in building capacity to improve informal statistical skills through training and collaborations. We will also review the activities and programs of the stat labs and the contributions being made to bring data science to bear on real-world problems. The first speaker is Dr. Mrs. Oluwayemisi, ALABA. She's a senior lecturer in the Department of Statistics, University of Ibadan, and also a senior lead collaborator in UI LISA. The second speaker is Dr. Mrs. Hope Ifeyiwa Mbashu. She is from Imo State University and also the founder of the Stat Lab there. And the third speaker is Dr. Monday Usagi Adenomo. He's the director of the university, Nasarawa State University here in Nigeria. So those 3 speakers, each of them will speak for 15 minutes. And the discussant is our leader, Professor Eric Vance, and thereafter we will have questions and answers. Now it's my pleasure to invite the first speaker, Dr. Mrs. ALABA. You can share your screen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Are you able to see the, okay, good. Can you see the share screen menu?
No.
Just at the bottom, look, put your screen at the bottom. You will see the window pumping up. You will see participant chat, share screen, just at the middle. Okay. We can see your screen now.
Can you see it now?
Yes, yes. So you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay. Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. Distinguished audience, it's good afternoon from Nigeria. Like Professor Olubusoye rightly said, I'm Dr. Oluwayemisi Oyeronke ALABA. I'm from University of Ibadan, Lisa, Nigeria, and I'm here to speak on building capacity in statistical consulting and collaboration techniques through the creation of Statistical Lab. And this is still part of the 2020 LISA Symposium Plenary event. I'll be talking on two articles. The first one is promoting and sustaining a viral statistical laboratory in Nigeria's premier university, lesson from UI LISA experience, and the complementary role of UI LISA in statistical training and capacity building at the University of Ibadan, co-authored by the UI LISA director, Professor Lusanya Olubusoye, Professor Eric Vance, Dr. Sherifat Folorunsho, Mr. Olalekan Akintande, Dr. Mrs. Adepoju, Mr. Tayo Gundumade, Mr. Oyelakin Adetomiwa, and also Mr. Bosa Roberts. As we all know, education is one of the earliest social services embraced in Nigeria as an instrument of stability, change, and development. Presently, we have the 6334 system, which is 6 years of primary education, 3 years of junior secondary school, 3 years of senior secondary school, and 4 years of university first degree. Statistics is not a subject in the 63-4 education system, but is embedded in mathematics, though it is a course at the university level. The historical background of Department of Statistics. This can be traced to the University of Ibadan, fondly called the premier university in Nigeria, which was founded in 1946 as University College Ibadan, with 3 founding faculties. We have the Arts, Science, and Medicine. The Department of Statistics was established in 1965, but operated in the Department of Economics. It became fully autonomous and started functioning as an independent department in 1973 in the Faculty of Science, with other higher degree programs in 1977. But there is an unresolved debate till today whether the department should be domiciled in the Faculty of Science or be an autonomous institute. Some of the challenges of the Department of Statistics include judicious balance between theory and practice. The excitement and pride of both staff and students were in glorifying statistics as a hard discipline because of the overwhelming importance placed on theory of abstract mathematical concepts, such as real analysis, ordinary differential equation, to the extent that students were fraught with being pessimistic about the possible future career and the application of the areas of the subject. The second problem is connected with the need for a statistical laboratory, despite the existence of the Department of Statistics for almost 5 decades. Prior to the emergence of UI LISA, it was a mirage to imagine statistics as a discipline that needs a laboratory in a similar fashion, similar to chemical or biological disciplines. While several departments in the Faculty of Science automatically benefit from sharing of bench fees, Statistics Department is painfully exempted due to the lack of a functional statistical lab. The third but very notable problem is the poor motivation, or rather lack of incentive, for interdisciplinary or collaborative research in the university system. The university promotion guidelines clearly reward single authors compared with multiple authors. Consequently, faculty members are mostly interested in solo rather than interdisciplinary research, which is the strength of any research. This problem underlines the attraction of the LISA 2020 in the Department of Statistics. The Laboratory for Interdisciplinary Research, Interdisciplinary Statistical Analysis, is the vision of Professor Eric Vance, which is to create 20 statistical labs in developing countries by 2020. And this has been pursued since 2012, which is known as LISA 2020, with 3 mission statements, which include, the first one is training statistics and or mathematics students and staff to become effective interdisciplinary collaborators who can move between theory and practice to solve problems for real-world impact. The second is to serve as a research infrastructure for researchers and decision makers at the university or in surrounding community to collaborate with statisticians to enable and accelerate research and database decision making that will have positive impact on the society. And the third is to teach short courses and workshops to improve statistical skills and literacy widely. All these were highlighted on January 16, 2015 in a paper titled LISA 2020, Creating a Network of Statistical Collaboration Laboratories, presented by the founder, Professor Eric Vance, during his first visit to Nigeria to create a network of statistical labs that will connect with LISA 2020. The emergence of UI LISA, upon the return of Dr. Olawale Awe, a doctoral student in the Department of Statistics, University of Ibadan, and the first LISA Fellow to the Department of Statistics, Virginia Tech in 2014. He introduced the LISA 2020 concept to UI, but opted to establish the Laboratory for Interdisciplinary Statistical Analysis and Collaboration, LISAC, in October 2014 at Obafemi Awolowo University. By December 2014, the second Stat Lab was created at Second University of Agriculture, Swalisa, Tanzania. The birth of UI LISA followed suit in March 2015, and it became officially recognized as a member of LISA 2020 network on June 4, 2015. Exchange visit to Nigeria by Professor Eric Vance to strengthen the activities of UI LISA. The first was Mr. Ann Crandall, a doctoral student from Virginia Tech University, Virginia Tech, to UI LISA, which took place between March 28 and April 17, 2015. It was instrumental in organizing series of collaboration meetings with graduate students and statisticians in UI. He actively participated in a series of sensitization talks at the faculty and Center for Petroleum, Energy, Economics, and Law, CEPL. The memory of his visits and contributions still lingers in the minds of UI LISA collaborators. The second visit was that of Miss Monica Johnston, a prominent and active member of the American Statistical Association. The visit took place from 8th to 11th January 2018. He had exciting moments with the women in statistics and inaugurated the Women in Statistics wings of the Department of Statistics, University of Ibadan. She made a public seminar presentation titled Improving Student Learning Within a Small Business Setting. This was indeed an eye-opener to young graduates of statistics that they could start their statistical practice on graduation without having to wait to have a government job. She encouraged the early career statisticians on the importance of joining a professional body and the need to spread their tentacles across the globe. The hallmark of her visit was the facilitation of the 1 hour with a statistician with a topic, statistical method communication, which attracted 87 attendees from 3 faculties across the university community. Our blunt and constructive assessments has really helped UI LISA. Also, there was exchange visits by the UI LISA coordinator, Professor Olusanya Olubusoye, to the then headquarters of LISA 2020 at Virginia Tech. Also, Purdue University, located at Lafayette, and Conference on Statistical Practice, organized by the American Statistical Association, held in San Diego, all in the United States of America. And that was between February 12 to March 16, 2016. The essence of this visit was to gain inspiration and ideas needed to continue to steer and manage UI LISA to fulfill its mission of training collaborative statisticians and helping the entire UI researchers. The visit to Virginia Tech provided a lot of insights and has indeed helped him to be an effective statistical consultant and also on how to sustain UI LISA. The UI LISA director also made a presentation on sustaining a viral statistical laboratory in Nigeria's premier university. UI LISA set up and 7 mission-driven programs. UI LISA puts UI students at the center of its mission. Therefore, UI LISA has 7 mission-driven programs, namely drop-in assistance. Just as the name implies, clients walk in and are assisted on issues raised. UI-LISA had provided statistical advice to 65 research projects to date, including 18 PhD theses, 46 master's dissertations, and 1 NGO project. Also, we have the collaborative training. The training is targeted at sundry users of statistics, specifically researchers in any discipline. UI-LISA partnered with Association of Statistics Students of Nigeria, UI Chapter, Department of Zoology, Veterinary Medicine, Faculty of Science, just to mention a few. Then short courses. This is the third mission program. In recognition of the fact that disciplines using statistical analysis in their research have peculiar training needs, UI-LISA team conducts specialized training workshops focusing on statistical methodology peculiar to the needs of researchers. UI-LISA facilitated training on data visualization, and there's an ongoing training on ggplot sponsored by ISI. Then our 1 hour with a statistician. During the 1 hour with a statistician, an invited statistical expert briefly gives a discourse on a popular statistical concept, including its uses and its misapplications. This is followed by constructive engagement in the form of questions and answers from the audience. The program is now very popular with growing participation among staff and students from departments within and outside the Faculty of Science. Then we have the mobile statistical clinic. This takes statistical education to the doorsteps of researchers. The program entails a carnival-like show by UI-LISA team, who usually move out and station at public locations such as halls of residence and even recreational areas to provide on-the-spot solutions to statistical problems and inquiries. Presently, the mobile statistical clinic team consists of 5 laboratory collaborators led by senior lab collaborators. For problems that cannot be solved on the spot, clients are referred to the laboratory for further help. And the 6th is just the one-on-one student training for tutoring. Then the last but not the least of the 7 mission agenda is the industrial training for students completing their academic degree, and we call these people the interns. You can see here we have some of the success stories so far, in which we have had 92 clients till 2017 and 55 interns till 2020. You can see here the interns displaying their certificates at the 2019 end of the year program. In collaboration with SIPO, UI-LISA participated in a university-wide energy audit project commissioned by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan in 2018. The collaboration has so far yielded 2 journal articles on renewable energy in Africa. The first one is the modeling the determinants of renewable energy consumption, evidence from the first 5 most populous nations in Africa. And the second is a panel data analysis of renewable energy consumption in Africa. Also, the lab has just completed a project on enhancing election participation in Nigeria in collaboration with the Electoral Institute of Research and Documentation Unit of the Independent National Election Commission, INEC. The funding was provided by LISA at the University of Colorado Boulder in cooperation with USAID. The project has produced 3 policy briefs and 3 research working papers. Additionally, the lab is currently engaged in a sanitation project funded by the USAID Teach Fund with collaboration with the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources for your state. The INEC project, the principal investigator is the UI LISA director, Professor Olubusoye. And the second project, the sanitation project, the principal investigator is Dr. Mrs. Adedayo Adepoju. As I close, without laboratories, men of science are soldiers without arms by Lois Pasteur. UI LISA is indeed equipping statistical soldiers to bridge the gap between theory and practice to solve problems for real-world impact. I want to sincerely thank everyone for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mrs. ALABA. It was a nice presentation. Without wasting time, I would like to invite Dr. Mrs. Mbashu to give a presentation. You have 15 minutes. Dr. Mbashu, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Good. Yeah, can see your face.
Where am I again?
Yeah, just go down, put your cursor down, and the window will pop up. You will see share screen. Click it. Excellent. Yeah, we can see your screen now. Maybe you put it on presentation mode.
What went wrong? Hello?
Hello.
Okay.
So you are good to go now.
Okay. I bring you greetings from Imo State University, Nigeria.
Are you still there?
I'm there.
Okay.
Network. Okay.
Yeah.
I am speaking on statistical consulting and collaboration technique. It's like I'm having a little challenge here, but I don't know where it's coming from.
Don't worry, at least we are hearing, you.
Okay. This article is authored by my very self, Obifenwa Mbacho, Julius Wanya, Kelechi Dozie, and Miriam Raymond, all from the same city. This thing is sharing itself. Imo State, the little history about the Stat Lab, IMSU Stat Lab of Education, Faculty of Science, sorry. The department has eminent academicians who work diligently and has distinguished themselves in the field of statistics. The department has 11 academic staff made up of 2 females and 9 males, with about half of the lecturers having their PhD in statistics. We run programs like BSc, MSc, MPhil, PhD program in statistics. The building you're looking at is the seat of power in the university, the Senate building. That's the IMSU LISA team. Introduction. Statistical consulting is educational, any field of study that involves random variation. This follows that every problem in every field of study that collects data belongs to this. The best source of knowledge is data. It is the symbiosis between data and theory that provides us with scientific knowledge. Data is important because theory does not always give us valid conclusion. Statistical consulting provides many services, which includes forming research questions, planning of studies, data collection, data management, statistical programming, and scientific writing. Looking at the picture now, it says consulting versus collaboration. The picture has explicitly shown us the difference between consulting and collaboration. We can see under consulting, we have just one-on-one. People go to the consultants, collect information they want, and walk away. But when you look at the collaboration, it has more to it. You can see they collect information, they interact among themselves, they have a lot of things in common. So individuals there work together to a common purpose. They work together to achieve a defined and common business purpose. I can see workplace collaboration that requires interpersonal skills and communication skills, because without communication, they cannot interact. They cannot talk to each other. I can see knowledge sharing and strategy, which can occur between members of a virtual team, as we're doing now. So what we're doing now is collaborating. So from this picture, you can see clearly what consulting and collaboration is all about. Workplace collaboration requires interpersonal and communication skills, knowledge sharing, what I have just explained in the diagram. Consulting comes in many colors. Statistical consulting includes, but not limited to, assisting with study design, data collection, proposing an analysis plan, conducting analysis, and writing of the results. It also requires estimating the time and also the cost for the work, possibly invoice for the work. Types of consulting. Different types of consulting and different types of consulting jobs are available. There are short-term consultations on one end of the spectrum, which requires just 1 or 2 meetings. This is typically for quantitatively skilled researchers who can on their own do the analysis, or maybe at times look for an expert to fine-tune their work just for proper guidance. On the other side is the long-term consulting. This is a situation where the consultant will be from the beginning of a project to the end of it, which may last for years. Other projects can be found anywhere in between short-term consultation and long-term consultation. Just like LISA 2020 aim has been to try to transform theory into practice, IMSU LISA has planned, being a new STAT lab, their activities to apply what I've just explained above. Under short term, we have training students, staff on the use of statistical softwares, organize short courses on data science, data analysis, our statistical packages, working consulting. Under medium term, we have statistical collaboration with domain experts in physical and biological sciences, collaboration with existing LISA, statistical labs in Nigeria and beyond, like UI LISA, MOAU, OAU, and others. We have a 4-circle consulting services. Looking at the figure for ongoing expert advice on 4-circle consulting services model for smooth consultation, we notice that firstly, you are to identify the needs. Secondly, strategize solution. Thirdly, implement solutions. Fourthly, measure effectiveness. This relationship of consulting services model has to be maintained for smooth running and successful consultation. Important skills required for statistical consulting. A statistical consultant is a problem solver. Almost all the statisticians are called for a problem of analyzing data, statistical analyzing data, or you can be called for application of statistical method. So one of the skills is that the person should have a strong interest in statistics and data science. The symbiosis between data and theory provides scientific knowledge. It is good to look at data here because only theory cannot give us valid conclusion. This scientific method is the combination of observational and theoretical study, which leads to scientific discovery. Skinland opened that time, patience, understanding, and empathy are the essential skills for collaboration between the clients and the consultants. But it is far beyond this because nothing can be substituted with technical competence. We also need statistical communication skills involve both written and verbal skills. Communication will help you to talk to your clients, understand their language for effective communication. Also needed there is business skills, business acumen, time management skills, networking talents, and the other skills. Statistical consulting is indeed a multifaceted operation which requires sound logic, insightful analytical training, and client-centered interpersonal communication skills. My screen is no longer sharing. I don't know if I can just continue. Okay, IMSU Start Lab. Just like we normally ask, what have you done? What are you doing? Or what do you plan to do? Just like I said, we are new transition member. We have planned to apply collaboration in this way. IMSU Start Lab focus will be on collaborating with other departments in the university community and beyond. This includes collaborating with government agencies, different start labs, both in Nigeria and beyond. And from the picture, you can see collaboration is going on there. Activities of LISA statistical capacity building. Some higher institutions in Nigeria and beyond have laboratory for interdisciplinary statistical analysis, which serves as a consulting unit. So some of the activities of LISA are as follows. Because of time, I can just go to the next page. Benefits of statistical consulting and collaboration technique. This helps to develop graduates with the necessary skills for a job in government, industries, or academics. Other benefits include enhancing the practical use of statistics and data science, enhancing the quality of decisions and conclusions made in research, and boosting the self-image of statisticians, and ensuring that statistics and data science continues to grow. Industries and higher institutions are increasingly recognizing the benefits of collaboration. Apart from the statistical, educational, and communication opportunities consulting provides, it is also a convenient way to expand your professional network beyond statistics and data science. Need to improve statistical consulting and collaboration. There is need to develop key skills for consulting and collaboration and promote the practice among researchers in higher institutions of learning in developing countries in statistics and data science. These skills are rarely taught in the university, as we mentioned before by Professor Oluwayemisi. The advent of LISA 2020 initiative is bridging the gap with a fast-growing network of statistical laboratories. I don't know why this thing is hanging. See, I didn't talk about collaboration technique. Wow. They need to improve. Okay, go consult, collaborate, have fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mbashu. That's a nice presentation. To save time, I will quickly invite the next speaker, Dr. Adenomo.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We are here. We can hear you very well.
Great. Okay. I'll quickly look at, want to look at statistical consulting, collaboration practices, the experience of UNSUK, Lisa Statler. We have the outline here. We look at this outline. We're going to have introduction. I'm waiting for my slide to show.
Yeah, you can continue because of time.
Okay, okay. We'll look at the challenges. We'll look at other things there. We'll look at, this is the outline. Let me go to the next slide. Okay. We're in a way of introduction, we can see that statistics can be used to solve problems in business, in industry, and in real life situation. But unfortunately, the adoption of statistics is somehow low, especially in developing countries like ours. When we come to Nigeria, we come to the North Central, the North, it's also somehow low. Okay, we want to introduce the university where I belong. The university started, officially started activity 2002, March. And in 2018, Statistics Department was created as a full department. In our Statistics Department, we have the BSc program, the PGD program, the MSc program. We also have MPhil and the PhD statistics. Actually, I joined this university in 2016. Then, well, if you look at the North or North Central, these are some of the challenges we have. We have low statistical capacity building. There you can see a statistician that may not be able to use software. Sometimes the wrong use of statistics, this is commonly with non-statistician, and sometimes with statistics students and even postgraduate students. We also have the problem of qualified and experienced statisticians. We have sometimes teachers can teach statistics without real life application. And this is why we are coming into the LISA, and this is what LISA is trying to solve. We want to see how we can teach statistics with application, from theory to application. Sometimes also have a problem of students not willing to pursue statistics as a field or as a course of study. Sometimes people can do a BSc program and they will swap to other departments. They also have what is called a poor mentoring culture. This is what LISA have solved and still trying to solve. Mentoring culture. Then we have lack of scholarship. We have inadequate facilities. Okay. Now this brought about the birth of UNSUK LISA. This me and other colleague of mine, we met Eric Vance in one of the NSA conference in 2017, which he spoke on his framework. His framework he developed in teaching statistics. We got interest, and then we exchanged contact, and that brought the birth of UNSUK LISA. Then in 2008, UNSUK LISA was created, and we became member in 31st January 2018. Now this is the vision or the mission, which is also in line with the LISA 2020. Students can learn the theory and empirical analysis using mentorship and statistical computing. We also teach short course. Then we also go with this rapid improvement in skill with practicals. Our counsel here is that students should have their own laptop. This is the picture of the first workshop I had with the undergraduate students, and we just the picture from there. And we have stories from this point that the student told me that this is first of its kind. And this is our frame we use. We teach, we train, we try to explain with real life application. We also try to influence attitudinal change. Sometimes the people have this kind of attitude, we try to change them that they can do better in the field of statistics. And then mentorship. Now we'll go to the activities we have, what we do in the Stat Lab. We have part of the activity is the training, the teaching. This is one of the workshop using a Minitab for management and social sciences. Here are some of the participants. This workshop 2, this workshop 1, where we teach statistics with R. And I'll be very frank that after some of this training, most of the students pick interest in R, and since then they are doing well. This is one of the recent one we had in econometrics analysis. We have these are undergraduate students. They attended. Some of them they have their laptop. Some do not have. Okay, part of the activity also is during the COVID we also had some activities. One of it is a workshop for women in data science supported by ISI. This is the flyer. You can see Professor Oluwayemisi rather. He has been a mentor to our lab and he has been imparting us. These are the women in my lab, Mrs. Adeye, Dr. Mejama, which is Bilikisu and this. This is the picture from the training in person. It was divided into 2 parts. We have the virtual and the in-person. In this workshop, Professor Oluwayemisi taught us in grant writing. Then Mejama taught us on the need, the pathway to women, to pathway in data science for women. And Mrs. Adeye taught us on the need for women. Then secondly, we also had another capacity building, this one recently with IASC with ISI support. And the good thing about this workshop is also collaborated with UI Lisa. Professor Oluwayemisi also taught here. He taught us on ANOVA, and he brought his boy. Adeniri also taught us in ANOVA, and I taught on financial time series and analysis. From this workshop, people attended. We have in the webinar we have about 60 persons. But the in-person we just close it. We'll take it down to about 10 because of the COVID. But for this one, it was purely webinar. The first day we have 88 participants. The second day we have 65 participants. While in the third day we have 55 participants. This was done during the COVID. Now we also have outreach to other schools. So I was trying to create a lab, try to encourage them to create a lab in Federal Polytechnic. That was a challenge. From outside the Polytechnic, I was able to still have interaction with these persons. In fact, these female students eventually came to my university to serve, and this was the statistic people that attended, and some of them have been consulting me in terms of mentoring, and some of them are doing well. Apart from that, because we try to impart our students, some of our students also create platform for us. This is one of my postgraduate students that created this platform for me to be able to teach on methodology, processes in research for management and all that. The workshop had about 80 participants. The rector attended, the deputy rector attended, and all that. And recently, one of them called me, was trying to ask a question on how to go about criticism of literature review, which I was able to explain. I still have contact with them. So the lab here is still at what I call a potential level, still yet to grow. Another outreach, which this lab is really doing well. The lab is FUAM LISA. This one is in the Department of Statistics, Federal University Agriculture, Makurdi. This lab is doing well. I went there as a form of mentoring them, they have moved to transitional traditional stage, and they are really doing well. They're really preparing for full membership. Okay. Now the consulting proper now. This is the framework I mentioned before. We use the teach and the training. We have example trade life application, attitudinal change and influence. We have the mentoring. These are some of the clients that collaborated with us, they consulted us. The first one is employee in banking sector, the case study of commercial bank in Kefi. This is a student from City College, London. We did the work, we collaborated, we were able to draft the questionnaire and all that. The work completed successfully. Then this another doctor, a client from Guaripa General Hospital, he worked on the defect of eye for urban and rural schools in FCT. We worked with this, is a female. We collaborated with her. What we did here is that we are more in the analysis of the data sets. And we stay back until they defend. And when it is completed, we get news from them that they have completed their job. Then another client from our university, from Department of Accounting, work on analysis of company social responsibility of quoted companies in Nigeria. This consulted us in the analysis. We used panel data analysis. Eventually, the analysis went through and he defended successfully. He has a PhD in accounting now. The next one is another consultant. This person was preparing for consultancy in O&G. This was the title of his work, Analysis of Anemia of Pregnant Women in North Central Nigeria. I am my colleague, his name is Mr. Shako. We work with this client and eventually we were able to do the work and has some fantastic results, and he has defended his work also as a consultant in O&G. Okay, now, because our department is a new department, and this man here is Dr. Menego, the first PhD student, and this is the staff, some of the staff. This is Sulema, this is my HOD, Dr. Wenze, this is one of our women, Mejaman, this is me, and this is the PD coordinator. But let me quickly talk about this this Dr. Menego. Actually came to the department to do a PhD in analysis of variance. But at that time, we were not having specialists, but we were able to motivate him and influence him to say, why don't you do a work whereby I and my HOD are experienced, which is the time series. He took courage and he summoned up courage and he did the work. We collaborated, especially in the analysis and all that. Eventually, he graduated successfully. One of his work, which he did 2020, was published in Web of Science journal, that is Financial Analysis in Springer, and some of this paper in other journals. But in a nutshell, he was able to develop a good writing skill and publish papers there. Okay, these are some of the projects of the students, Like this work is one of the MSc students, my student per se. We presented this work in NMS, that is Nigerian Mathematical Society, in Nsukka, that is UNN Nsukka. We presented this work there. This is another work by female students. She worked on this, poverty reduction through this, vector regression. We also presented this work in NMS in UNN here. This other work is a female student of mine who also collaborated with us. We also presented this work in NMS, NSA, in Unizik. We presented this work in Unizik. This another one presented also in Unizik. And this one is that of my PhD student, our PhD student, which was already published in Financial Innovation. Okay, this one of the MSc student work, modeling registered birth and death in Nigeria using this generalized linear model. This work was presented in the first international conference and it won the Best Paper Presentation 2020. And many other things we do, which are not, we did not put them yet. But now this is the impact we can bring out from what we have been doing so far since 2018. So far, we've trained 400 level, about 40 of them. This is the male and female. 300 level, about 30 of them in 2019. At the MSc level and the PhD level, about 37 of them, about 36 of them. Then 2020, which is this year, we only did one work, as I mentioned before, on macro analysis using EV. For the male, the female, we have 27 of them. In terms of collaboration, because most of the collaboration from the department, but now I want to come to this collaboration, publication, and award. So far, within the university, roughly about 10 collaboration. But I must quickly say here that I'm already collaborating with economics departments. They have brought me as the coordinator for LISA into the economic research group of the university. They co-opted me into that research group. Because of the COVID, we have not done much work, but our plan is, number one, we want to solve some problem in terms of economy for the state, for the university, and also create a center. Then after the university, as I mentioned before, we have about 3 of them. Then for the publication in Web of Science, we have about 3 of them, 1 in Web of Science Journal, while 2 in Scopus. Then the awards so far, we have won 2 grants for capacity building, which I mentioned before, the ISI and all that, and then the best presentation paper for RSS. Yes. In conclusion, the advent of LISA to this university and what we have done so far has really brought a drastic change. The department, the university, and outside. We hope that as we continue activity from now, we hope that eventually we're able to close the gap between theory and application in the northern Nigeria, in the north central Nigeria, and by extension to northern part of the country, and then so this is the reference. We hope to thank Professor Eric. We also hope to thank the management team. And I want to say I need to thank Professor Lupuse. He has been a mentor and every member of the LISA 2020. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very, very much, Dr. Monday Adenomo. It was a nice presentation. I would like to now invite the discussant, who is our overall boss and leader, Professor Eric Vance, to discuss the 3 papers presented. Thereafter, we will entertain comments and questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Professor. And I'm really pleased to be able to follow 3 wonderful talks by, Dr. ALABA and Dr. Mbachu and Dr. Adenoman. It's really great to see what is going on in the stat labs. So I am going to discuss by giving a presentation. And this presentation is about a discussion on statistical collaboration techniques and consulting and collaboration techniques. And it again helps to answer the question of why are we doing these statistical consulting and collaboration. So we heard many great reasons why and great collaborations that have been formed. And I am going to present a question. Professor, do you see the full screen? Or what do you see?
Yes, but not full.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me share a different screen, maybe. You don't see the full screen. Do you see like two different slides?
Yeah, no, now it's full.
Okay, great. So this is a discussion, and it starts then with the ASCR framework. So the ASCR framework describes the who, when, what, and how of collaboration. And this is a framework that I created with my colleague Heather Smith, and it is relevant for students and practitioners of statistical collaboration and consulting in the United States, because that's the context that I am most familiar with. And so I'm going to be presenting it, and I really am asking the entire LISA 2020 network and all of our observers and guests to see which pieces of this framework would be relevant for your own local context. So as Dr. Adenoman mentioned, that a collaborative attitude is very important, and it is really the foundation for effective collaboration. So attitude is the first part of this ASCR framework. This ASCR framework is the attitude of collaboration, structuring meetings. It's the content that we work on in the meetings. It's communication skills. And finally, it's the relationship that we have with the domain experts and the clients. So starting with this collaborative attitude, there are three types of attitudes, three areas. I call them me, you, and we. So for the me attitude, that's attitudes that I have about myself. It's the attitudes that the statistician has about herself. And one attitude is, I am excited to grow as a collaborative statistician on this project. I am excited to learn new things and to apply what I know and to learn new things and become a better statistician and data scientist as a result of working on this project. In fact, my attitude is I am building my own capacity by working on this project. Second attitude would be a you, and that's the people that we work with. We want to value them and call them domain experts because they're experts in their field and they know more about their specific problem than anybody else. And the third area is we. So we intend for this to develop into a true collaboration where we are creating something that we could not create alone. I need you, you need me. We are collaborating to solve a problem or to make a decision or to influence some change. So these are some attitudes. So, maybe you should consider what attitudes would be best for the people who work in your stat lab. What will be foundational attitudes for collaboration? The second component of the ASCR frame is structure. So we use what we call the power structure because meetings with domain experts are very complex. It's a complex dance. There are statistical things to think about, data things to think about. We need to understand the domain. There are lots of things to think about. What we don't want to have to always think about is, are we remembering to have important conversations? Are we forgetting something? And so that's why we have a power structure where we do preparation before the meeting. And then during the meeting, we open it by asking about the time available, asking what the domain expert wants to accomplish. We discuss goals in the opening, and then we work on what the domain expert wants to accomplish. And then we end the meeting by summarizing in writing what were the key issues discussed, what were the decisions made, what are the next steps. So this is part of the structure. And finally, the R is reflect. This is not going to be the first meeting we ever have. And we are having that attitude that we're trying to grow as collaborators. And a great way to do that is to reflect on what went well and what could be improved. And so that reflection is a key component of the structure of a collaboration meeting. And that describes kind of when we do things in a meeting. The third component is the content. This is the what are we doing? And I have broken it down into 3 areas, which are very similar to the 4 cycles of consulting that Dr. Mbachu discussed. I have here 3. The first one is a qualitative question about what is the business question? What is the research question? What is that policy question? What does the domain expert want to do? These are qualitative questions that we have to answer before we go into the second part, which is quantitative, which is what are the statistical models we should use? What are the data science algorithms we could use? And what are the quantitative, what's a quantitative solution to the problem? Then the third cycle is qualitative again. It's what is the decision we want to make, and what is the research question? What is the answer to the research question? How do our statistics answer that research question or help make a policy decision? And how do we implement it? So that's very similar to the 4th cycle of Dr. Mbachu, that we want to measure the effectiveness. We don't want to just provide advice. We want to see action happen. We want to transform evidence, transform data into action. So this action is the contribution that we make to the domain problem. And that's a key component of why we are collaborating, is because we want to make a deep contribution to the field. We want to solve a problem and implement a solution. The next component of the ASCR framework is communication. And communication is how we collaborate. So there are many communication skills that are very important. And I'm just going to list a few of these. Asking great questions, listening, paraphrasing, summarizing, and then explaining statistics using an adept method, which I will not go into, but is a very effective method for using analogies, diagrams, examples, plain language, and if necessary, a technical definition to help the domain expert understand. So effective communication is how we make deep contributions and create strong relationships. The last component of the ASCR frame really combines all of this, the who, what, how, when, why of collaboration. It's relationship. So we want to create a relationship between a collaborative statistician and a domain expert. And what characterizes a collaborative relationship? It's that there's mutual trust, that they're working towards the same goals, that they have high regard for each other, that they value each other's expertise, that they realize that they could not do this work alone. And so that makes a collaborative relationship. And we want to create strong relationships by increasing the trust, increasing the value that the domain expert puts on our statistics work. And so we collaborate to create strong relationships. So I'm going to kind of move to about, why do we have all of these aspects of the ASCR frame? Why do we want to collaborate? So first, there's some terminology, and that's that instrumental goals help achieve terminal goals. So instrumental goals are intermediate outcomes that are a means to an end. For example, having a great structure for a meeting is a means to having a deep contribution and a strong relationship. It's a way to get to the end goal of the collaboration, but it's not the end goal in itself. A terminal goal is an end in itself. It's the reason that we are doing what we are doing. It has intrinsic value that we put on it. And so achieving the terminal goals is the reason for doing all of the other stuff. So all of the other instrumental goals. And I will also give one definition of collaboration, is that it's for 2 or more people or organizations to create something that could not be created alone. And what this implies is that there are two outcomes of a collaboration, that there must be some creation, some output, and that's the contribution that we're making. And there also must be a relationship between two or more interdependent people. So there must be some output, some contribution, and a relationship. So those are the two goals, the two terminal goals of collaboration. We want to make a deep contribution. We want to impact. We want to improve our society. We want to improve the livelihoods of our peers and colleagues and people in our countries. And we want to create strong relationships with domain experts. So just a little story. So making a deep contribution and creating a strong relationship, that's why we collaborate. And you could think of this as focusing on the task and the relationship. And so sometimes, so actually in the past, I usually always only focused on the task. You know, I called them clients, and so clients would come in and they would have a problem and I would solve the problem. And I focused on the task, but not on the relationship. And I think that was a mistake. And actually now I am focusing more on relationships because that is one of my terminal goals. So part of the reason is that strong relationships help make deep contributions, but also deep contributions help create strong relationships. So one quick story is that my son, Max, he's now 9 months old. I read to him every day. Now, why do I read to him? Well, for the task, thinking about the mental side, I'm helping I want my child to learn language. I want him to learn to read. I want him to think, to imagine. And so I read him stories. But really more important than what I'm teaching him, more important than the task, is that I am creating a strong relationship with my son. So by reading to him, yes, I'm helping him develop his cognitive skills, but more important, I am creating a strong relationship. And that is an end goal in itself. So the ASCR framework is a strategy for achieving the terminal goals. Very briefly, you have an attitude, and that attitude can help you create an effective structure. It helps you in good communication. It helps then create a deep contribution and strengthen a relationship. The structure helps facilitate communication, and communication helps create make a deep contribution because you're getting useful information to make a contribution, and communication helps the relationship. And the relationship can help make a contribution, and making a contribution can help create a strong relationship. So there's something missing. I talked about the who, what, where, the who, what, when, why, and how of collaboration, but what about the where? So where do we learn, teach, and practice collaboration? And that where, the answer is in the individual stat labs. That's where we learn, teach, and practice collaboration. So what's next for the LISA 2020 network is that I would like to work with members of the network to adapt the ASCR framework for specific cultural contexts. So what are the attitudes specifically? What is the structure that works in the culture in Pakistan versus Brazil versus Nigeria versus Ethiopia versus the United States? You know, how is that different? Which aspects of that could be adapted in South Africa? And then I also, at the same time, we are creating a LISA 2020 certificate that will include standardized and individualized training and practice in statistical consulting and collaboration techniques. So I have papers that I've written about these items, and one of them is this, the ASCR framework for collaboration. And these papers will be part of the curriculum for the certificate, as well as the adaptations to different contexts. So that's the end of my my discussion. So I want to thank everybody, thank Professor Olubusoye for organizing this wonderful session, and for our three distinguished speakers for doing this, and really I'm calling on the rest of the network to continue this work. So we've really made it, I think, a strong case for why we need to develop statistical consulting and collaboration skills within ourselves, within our students. And so now, there are materials out there, and we need to put those into practice. So thank you, everyone. And I'll turn it back over to Professor Olubusoye for the final words.
Well, thank you, Professor Eric Franz, the Global Director of LISA 2020. We are really very, very happy to be part of your vision. And I think the whole world is feeling the impact. I think very soon we'll get to begin to see the fruits of these efforts. Having said that, we have a few minutes to round up. If there are quick interjections from the participants, questions, you can use the chat window to supply your questions, or maybe you raise up your hand. There is the I think there's icon for raising up hands. Questions? Well, I think I can see Francine Kestring. Please unmute and speak. I can also see Hadan, but Francine, please unmute and speak. Are you there? Okay, in the meantime, can Hadan speak? Hadan. Francine, if you are there now, I can see you are unmuted. Please speak. Francine. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, good to have you.
I'm fine, and you?
Fine, please, you have the floor to make your comment or ask questions.
Thank you, Professor, for your presentation. It's very nice.
You're welcome. Do you have a question or a comment?
No, no question.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Can you introduce yourself if there is no question?
Do you think the ASCR framework would be useful in your practice of statistics or data science?
I am a student of doctorate in UniOeste with teacher Luciana, And I think this presentation is very good for my formation in the area.
Great. Bem-vindo. I think, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that will be the last we can take. And I want to thank everybody who made it and joined us on this first plenary session. I want to invite you to be part of the subsequent ones. Eric has shared the details on the chat. Please look at the time and put them on your calendar. Take note of them on your calendar. I want to thank all the speakers and of course the global director and everyone. Thank you very much. This is the end of this webinar. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.
I remember October.
Thank you.
is our next one.
Bye.
So,
Thank you.
bye-bye. Good.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Prof, I thank you so much.
Thank you. And, I understand the challenges, but
yes,
please,
network.
yes. Eric, you are not the only father. We also have a grandmother. Dr. Mbashu is a grandmother now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Prof.
Oh, wow, that's
So,
great. Congratulations.
Hi,
Thank you
Mbachu.
very much. Thank you.
Hi.
so
Yes, Dr.
she has to
ALABA.
start. She has to start reading to her baby too. What a leader!
Oh, yes, I've learned that
She
today.
has to follow the leader.
Yes, I have learned that today from Professor Vance.
Yes,
Yes, that's a good one.
well done. Yes.
Professor ALABA, thank you very much. You did well.
Thank you, ma.
Okay.
And special regards to your grandson or daughter, girl.
Daughter, yes.
Yeah.
Girl.
Girl, okay.
Yes.
We
Well
need
done.
more.
Thank you.
We need more girls.
More girls.
It's great seeing you again.
So bye.
Bye for now.
Eric,
How are you?
Bye.
Hello. How is Ghana?
Yeah, Ghana is great. Ghana is great. We miss you. You should come again. Yeah, she's fine.
Yes.
She's fine. She was even part of the symposium. She joined.
Okay. I saw that you just organized another program that you're about
Yeah.
to sponsor some girls in the wisdom
Yes.
Ghana wisdom program. Yeah, that's a good one. Well
Yeah.
done.